Hi everyone, it's Derek from the Are You Ready podcast here, and this is my reaction to the 1-1 draw against Limassol in the Europa League Group C Game 5 tonight. I've sat here for about 5 minutes trying to think of something to say about this game, but that was just bad. I mean, I can't tell you anything that we've not seen already with certain players in this team. It was just woeful at times. It picked up in the second half, absolutely, and I think the spark that largely caused that was McCausland. But once again, we failed to take chances. We failed to put a keeper under pressure, and we just give away a sloppy goal that we basically seen at the weekend. And once again as well, we've gone into the game with a result going in our favour, knowing the job we have to do, and we fail. It's just not good enough for this team. The one silver lining of the event tonight was that because of the results tonight, we're at least guaranteed Conference League football after Christmas. It's a small consolation because we want to be competing to the highest ability in every competition that we enter. We've entered this competition, we want to get as far as we can in that. I'm not going to knock it if we end up getting into the conference and doing a West Ham, but that's a big if just now, because this team are just so frustrating because they've got something in them at times, but then we've just seen in the last two games how poor they can be. We've made 3 changes from that Aberdeen game. We lined up Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Davis, Barisic, Lundstrom, Cifuentes, Lammers, Cantwell, Sima and Danilo. On the subs bench we had McCrory, Wright, Dessers, Lawrence, Matondo, Sterling, Roof, King, Devine, McCausland and McKinnon. Obviously Goldson was out suspended from the last game as well. But the first half overall was just poor. Absolutely poor. We're leaving far too many gaps at the back. We were getting in behind them as well, granted, but we weren't putting their keeper under any pressure whatsoever. We were too hesitant in front of goal, try to take one too many touches. It's the one thing the first few games we've seen when Clement came in, they were just shooting, they were going for it. We stopped doing that in the last couple of games, and look what happened, we get pish results from it. And it's no surprise that Limassol were the first team to actually put a keeper under proper pressure, because in the 11th minute they broke up the park, and it was a great strike, and even better save out for the corner by Butland. Limassol scored on the 28th minute, and it's a goal we've seen so many times, and it was basically a carbon copy of Aberdeen's goal at the weekend there. Cantwell loses the ball in the Aris half, near their box actually, trying to do a silly spin. They regain possession, one long ball over the top in between our two centre backs, their attacker rounds their keeper and passes into the net. It was almost a carbon copy of that goal. It was just so poor, so simple, and once again losing the ball in the opposition half. How many more times does that have to happen before we tighten up that way? I don't mind losing possession, but it's the sloppiness of the trying to regain it afterwards. And I don't know if that incident sparked this, because Cantwell ended up coming off on the 36th minute and McCausland came on. There was boos around the stadium. I don't know if that's because it was Cantwell coming off. Cantwell was clearly not happy. He certainly wasn't the worst player at that point. He's not a right-sided player. McCausland is. It was a straight swap, and instantly you seen McCausland getting involved, taking on players. He was on fire tonight. He was really good. So half-time whistle came. There was boos around the stadium. Second half, we were on top pretty much the whole half. We had a lot of possession, a lot in and near their box, but we done nothing with it. I can't remember how many shots we had. It wasn't many. I think the stats say we only had 5 shots on target in the whole game. That's just poor for any stretch of the imagination. They had gaps at the back. Their keeper just didn't want to catch the ball. I mean, it was quite evident, certainly early on in the second half. He was punching everything. He got himself into trouble a couple of times. I do not know why we weren't putting their keeper under more pressure that way. Just fire balls at him. He was going to punch them. You might get the drop of the ball off some of them, just pure luck or a flick or something. We just weren't trying that. It was poor. Our possession retention was poor tonight as well. As I said, I don't mind losing possession, but you need to work hard to win back possession. That's what we've seen in the first couple of games under Clement. We were winning back possession, weren't afraid to lose possession, and then we were working hard to regain it. We've not seen it in the last few games. We did draw a goal back though, and it was early on in the second half with McCausland scoring, getting officially his first goal now. It was a throw in by Aris from the dugout side. The receiving player slips, Danilo picks it up, he cuts inside, passes to the right to McCausland, who takes it in just inside the box and hits a shot through the legs of the defender and in off the left post. Brilliant goal, great move. Lammers off and Lawrence on in the 58th minute. Lawrence was lively, trying stuff when he came on as well. A big chance for McCausland in the 64th minute after a well-worked move. McCausland on the right side of the box. He should have shot, however he steps over, tries to shoot and it was blocked and out for the corner. A poor effort for Danilo on the 70th minute. Limassol started to come back a wee bit into the later on in the second half. They had a good chance in the 78th minute. Cross came in after a corner and it was headed over the bar. It was placed just behind them. If it had been on just in front of them, then that would have been a certain goal. They were certainly exploiting some gaps, especially on Barisic's side in that second half as well. But there's really no much to say about the rest of the game because it was just so poor. We never put their keeper under any pressure. Several players now have shown more than enough in Clement's time anyway to surely show them they are not good enough. He was maybe a wee bit hamstrung tonight with the team because we've still got a few injuries, and also the poor European squad that Beale selected. He's a bit hamstrung with that, so we can give him a wee bit of leeway with that. But ultimately, you've got to look at the likes of Cifuentes and Lammers can't start another game. It's just too poor. How much money did we spend on Dessers, and he's sitting on the bench again when we needed a goal? Danilo can forgive him, he never had a lot of service. Sima was good. Lundstrom was half decent at times. Butland, he wasn't called into action all that much, but he was decent when he done. That back line, again, Tavernier, Suter, Davis, Barisic. I mean, I know they never had a lot to do, but they were leaving gaps all over the place, and the goal was just unforgivable, especially when you've conceded the exact same goal at the weekend there. Anyway, that leaves a massive task going to Real Betis. Ultimately, you've got to think that we cannot rely on a draw because Sparta have already beaten Aris. They're going there to Cyprus. They need to win. You've got to think that they're going to win that game. We've got to go to Real, the hardest game of the draw, you've got to say, and win. We've beat them before, but that was at Ibrox, and with the way this team's playing just now, I don't know. But anyway, that lines us up for the weekend. We are playing St Mirren at home on Sunday. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. Dave and I will be doing a main podcast to go over this game tonight and the last 3 games as well. We are doing that tomorrow night, so it should be out in the early hours of Saturday morning. So, thanks for listening and goodbye.